and welcome to Trout Talk, episode number 9. I'm Brendan Lang, alongside my broadcast partners here, Zack Bodenstein and Mikey K, also known as Mike Karafilidis. I guess you could go the other way. Mike Karafilidis, also known as Mikey K, on here, episode 9. And we're going to be, now you can find this podcast on YouTube. I wanted to get that out there, that you can find Trout Talk. You can go on there on the channel. It's on YouTube. You can see the video component, and then, of course, also posted on Saga 960 AM. The audio version, and we're gonna keep going with this before the season starts, and there might be some new stuff up and coming with our show once the season gets going, so we'll get into that a little bit later on. But first, it's been a couple weeks since we were on here, guys. Didn't have a guest last week, didn't have a show last week, so had a couple weeks off. You guys have been doing a lot. Zach, you said that you've been extremely busy here recently, so what's been going on?
Busy's good though, right, guys? I mean,
it is.
And it's only going to get busier during hockey season. And I think I speak for all of us, where we love being busy. We love doing what we're doing. And it's going to get to a point where, broadcast, hockey, like this is it. This is life. Making time for our families, obviously, and our social life. But no, all is good. Busy's good. Just a lot of meetings and all that kind of stuff, of course, work. So everything's been okay. Mikey, I know you're trying to salvage this last bit of summer-like weather, so I can see the little golf shirt going on there.
I don't know if this is a golf shirt, but sure. Again, well, this is the shirt that I wore to the golf tournament.
So it's a golf shirt. There you go.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So not much. You know what? I'm dog sitting, which is we're dog sitting this week here. Last week. And my sister and my brother-in-law and the family, they went away on vacation. So they asked us to dog sit. And so we have a French bulldog that is in the house right now. And little Stella upstairs, little girly dog, that's for sure. And she is a joy. And everybody's having fun with her. And they're very easy to take care of, French bulldogs, I tell you right now. And, she tells us when she has to go poo. She tells us when she has to go pee. You play with her, you play with, all that kind of stuff. And it's good for everybody. It's good for the kid. It's good for everyone. And that's the way she goes, right? And hockey season's coming up, like Zach said, and, with work and all that kind of stuff. And, man, we got big plans coming up. Yeah, we got big plans coming up. Big plans, boys. Big plans. Coming up with our show and stuff. And, Brendan, you'll get into that later, as you said. But I can't wait. I can't wait for the season, just around the corner. Yeah,
Mike, you said you're dog sitting. Are you a dog guy? Did you have dogs growing up?
No, we weren't allowed. We weren't allowed, unfortunately. Yeah, we weren't allowed to have dogs. I did have a rabbit. I did have a rabbit. I let it go because I felt sorry for it in the cage. I had an albino.
Well, fair enough.
I had an albino, let it go. And we had a lovebird, and that passed away. So now we have a fish in this home, and we are dog sitting, and it's fun. Yeah, I didn't have any pets growing up. Always wanted to. I always said, "Can we have a dog? Can we have a dog?" No. Oh, that's.
So you've got a young son. The relationship between a son and a dog, or I guess a kid and a dog, that's always so pure. How are they getting along?
Oh, buddy, I'm telling you. I mean, he's in love with this dog, and the dog's in love with him. You can tell right away. Like, always wanting to play with them, always coming up to him all the time. And they come up with what they do. They come up with a stuffed toy and they drop it off in front of them, right? Drop it off, and they just want to play, right? And they go, like whatever with the teeth and stuff, right? And they chase each other all over the place. But this dog, for some reason, has a foot fetish. I don't know. I don't understand why. So it always comes after my feet, and it's always I don't know why. It's always my feet.
I feel like that's pretty common with dogs. I think they like to go after the feet. Yeah, feet and hands. I think I always got dogs licking my hands when I'm sitting around. Maybe I got salty hands. I don't know.
But, leftover food.
Yeah, exactly.
Mikey, make sure to change the socks, buddy.
Yeah.
I know. But right now I'm not wearing the socks, eh? So I'm wearing, I'm walking around, barefoot because it's summertime and whatnot. I only socks sometimes, but when I don't have it, the dog always comes up to me and wants to eat my feet. Why me? Go after everyone else's feet. You know what I mean? Holy moly. My son just laughs.
No, it's always good to have. I mean, dogs, just any pet around. I mean, I've always had pets my whole life, so that's always good to have, especially when you have kids. Again, like you're saying, it's cool for them to have that bond. So we'll get to our guest here in a little bit. He'll be jumping on here in a couple of minutes, but first, before we do that, a little bit of business to take care of. The Steelheads made a move not too long ago. They traded away Bryce Cook for a 6th round draft pick to the North Bay Battalion. So I guess we can start with you, Mikey. Just what are your thoughts on the deal? Not a huge deal, but definitely something that will change the look of the roster this year.
Well, Bryce Cook, I mean, he first came up with the Niagara Ice Dogs, right? And he had a great rookie year with Niagara. And he came over in the trade, I believe he came over in the trade with Isaac Enright. So, you know, Bryce Cook, then he came over to Mississauga. He was good in the penalty kill. He was good on the rush. He's a good 4th line guy, 3rd line guy, whatnot. But I think maybe expectations, he wasn't as good as we thought he was going to be, let's just say, right? But he did play hard. He played hard every shift. Great kid. I think a change of scenery for him was maybe the best thing, you know, going to the North Bay Battalion. But he did some good things, like I said, in Mississauga. You know, the penalty kill, he worked hard every shift. You know, he was kind of snake bit a little bit, to me, it seemed like. But it's a good move. You get a draft pick for him and stuff, and we'll see how that materializes for him in North Bay, and I wish him all the best.
Yeah, the penalty kill was the one thing that stood out to me, at least at first, guys. I remember right after the trade was made, I said, you know, this is a team that struggled on the penalty kill last year, and now they're losing one of their better penalty killing forwards. But we also have to consider that although they did lose James Hardy, they brought in some nice forwards, and they've got these guys who are a year older. Don't forget about Kieran Witkowski. We talk all about the young guys. We talk about the forwards who are up and coming, who already have a year under their belt. And we talk about the rookies like Jack Ivankovic. Let's not forget about Witkowski. The guy was smashing the ball on the golf course. Number one, I think he set the record on one of the goals. I can't remember, but
he did.
He was done. But man, he got taken 2nd round, and a lot of people are kind of scratching their heads wondering why he slipped to the 2nd round. But Mississauga always seems to find these gems. I think he is a key contributor. With Bryce Cook, I think inconsistency was a little bit of a factor. I think you're right, Mikey. He was snake bit a little bit. He had the right idea in terms of, you know, going to the right places, and he was a smart player, so he's in the right areas, and he did work hard. But at the end of the day, if you're a forward and they're going to be playing in the top 9 and you're not scoring goals and you're not really creating as much as the team would like you to, at the end of the day, this is a business. That he is expendable. There are players who are in that role that are expendable. Again, we wish him the best. I think North Bay is a good spot for him. I think he gets a pretty prominent role in a team that has a lot of guys going out because they were on the older side. And again, that team always has a knack for scoring goals. So it wouldn't surprise me at all, Brennan, to see Bryce Cook come back to his rookie form with the Niagara Ice Dogs.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you guys kind of just laid it out there of what he was really good at. And it was penalty killing. I think when he played in that 4th line role where it was more of a checking, grinding sort of role that he was in, I thought he did that really well.
Yes.
Maybe just necessarily doesn't fit on this specific roster that they're doing, but I do think that he's a very good player that can definitely help North Bay, like you just said, or any team, really, just kind of that type of guy. And I agree with the point of being snake bitten as well. And a name that you mentioned there was Winkowski. So I kind of wanted to ask you guys, with him being out of the picture, who is somebody that maybe they would be moving into the spot again, because you take away one player, you're gonna have to fill the roster spot somewhere else. And Mikey, you actually mentioned Winkowski before we came on here today. So if you could expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, when I first met that kid, let's just start off with that. My goodness, at the golf tournament, he is built. Like, let's just say this. He is built like a 21-year-old. His arms are coming out like this. He's hitting the golf ball. But the thing is, like crazy. Oh, my goodness. I was like, oh, my goodness. Like, I was even, oof. Anyway, but he's good. He's good. He's a good two-way player. And he can score. He could score. And, I mean, another player that can score. But he's mature. I think he's mature. He's very mature for his age, and I think he's really, really going to help this team, this young team, moving forward. I think that creates a spot now for Witkowski. But I like Witkowski a lot, and so we'll see how he does this year. I think maybe there might be something else in the brewing as well with the move of Cook. We'll see, but Witkowski, I think, is going to fit in just fine with the Steelheads team. I like him.
pretty much the same thing again. He was the first guy who came to mind for me when Cook was traded. I said, okay, well, did they not just draft a stud forward in the second round? Well, kind of makes sense. Creates some room for him, right? So I really like that. I think Witkowski was going to make the lineup regardless, but this just opens up, a slot for him on the left wing. And we saw in the blue versus white game in the scrimmage to open training camp that Witkowski was playing left wing. He did look pretty good in that game. And I wouldn't be surprised for him to at least get the first crack at maybe a top 6 role. This is a deep forward group, guys. Again, we talk about losing James Hardy, but they have so many pieces to fill it by committee that it doesn't worry me at all. And JR said it himself, we're going to score a lot of goals. I think Witkowski's a good part of this forward core. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ryan Struthers get in the mix a little bit too. He's going to be a year older. I think if they do play a gritty game against one of their rivals, get Struthers in there, keep his feet wet, because he had a tough job last year, guys. Let's not forget Struthers would sit like 30-something games, and then he had to come in, and we even talked to him about it, and he was saying, it's not the easiest job in the world. The coaches acknowledge it's not the easiest job in the world, but he did a pretty solid job with his role when he were to come in, especially after sitting like half the season in a row. So Struthers, but Witkowski, I think for sure is the guy who's going to turn a lot of heads for the rookies.
Yeah, just on that Struthers point, I remember last year, it would have been like 20 games maybe that he sat, and then he had to come in and play Ottawa. It was the first game. It's like, that is ridiculously difficult to have to sit that long. Of course, you're still practicing and all that, but it's not the same as getting into a game, then having to jump in there against a team like Ottawa, who was obviously really good last year and will be probably really good again this year. That is a difficult job. So we're just waiting here on our guest. We will be talking to Charlie Callaghan here today on Trout Talk. So before we get to him then, as we wait, we'll kind of jump off. We'll switch things up a little bit. I was thinking, actually, as you guys were mentioning that, not on this episode, but maybe in the future, before the season starts, we could maybe talk about the lines, see how they're going to be shaping up. We could go more into depth about that. I think that would be good. Actually, just as I said that, we had him join right now. So Charlie Callaghan is here. Chucky joining us here on Trout Talk. Thanks for coming on. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Sorry for the delay. I kind of got lost in technology a bit.
No worries. How's the off season been going? Of course, you finished off your overage season there with Mississauga. You're going to be going on playing with St. FX. So what's been going on in the off season?
Kind of normal stuff. Just kind of training right now, skating. Got here to St. FX about 3 weeks ago. So now I'm just kind of here with all the guys. We're skating together, working out together. It's been awesome. So just hanging out with them, getting to know everyone. It's kind of nice to get familiar with guys before camp starts and before start playing games.
Yeah, fantastic. Chucky boy. Thanks for coming on, my man. Appreciate it. Always good to see you. You're always smiling.
Well.
That's a good thing. Well, you're smiling when you're off the ice, but on the ice, you're not smiling. Chucky, you were drafted, man. Think about this. How many times have we talked about this? Now you could tell everybody about this. I mean, drafted in the 8th round, 148th overall, my man. 148th overall in the 2018 OHL priority selection draft. You were a Steelhead all that time. You never moved anywhere. But how much of a chip on your shoulder did you play with being an 8th round pick? Saying, yeah, was that so? Come on. Tell
Yeah, I mean, going into the draft, my draft year, I didn't really know where I was going to go or what round I was going to go, but finishing it out, I thought I had a strong year. We had a strong team. We went to the finals in GTHL, took the Marlies to 7 games, and then I always thought I should be a top 100 pick in that draft, be a top 5 round pick, and that didn't really happen. But there's teams I was talking to and teams that sound interested, and Mississauga was one of them, and it was a big relief to get drafted, but once I got drafted, I kind of wanted to prove everyone wrong. And, I always had the smaller size tagged my name there. And I just wanted to move on and kind of show people that no matter what size I am, I can still play in this league and end up being an impact player, as I think I was, and have a 5-year OHL career. I don't think anyone really thought I could do that other than probably my parents and JR, Cracks, Tails. Maybe not even Tails and Cracks. I think JR, but I don't know.
I want to kind of stay on the draft thing there, and I asked this to James Hardy too. But what did you know about Mississauga before you came? Of course, it's close to home for you, so that would have been pretty cool. But you talked to them before the draft. Kind of, what was it like when you saw that you were going to be going to Mississauga?
Yeah, so Mississauga, I visited. I want to say right before OHL Cup, my draft year. kind of got a tour of the whole thing. Had an hour-long chat with JR and Cracks about the team, the organization, how it's ran, what they do. I've been to a couple games growing up. My minor major team did practice with the Steelheads. I think JR, Cracks, and Tails were all on the ice with us for a practice in minor midget. Little do they know that I was going to be there next year, but so I kind of knew a little bit about it, not a whole lot. I didn't really know anyone on the team before getting there. I didn't really know James at all before. Just kind of playing against him, same with Porto. But yeah, I didn't really know too much about it other than before I got there for my meetings and calls and all that stuff.
Chucky, when did you start playing hockey?
I want to say it was probably about age 4 or 5. I'm good buddies with Jamie Drysdale, and his dad told my dad about a tryout in minor hockey for the North York Knights, and my dad bought me 3 sizes too big skates from Play Against Sports because he didn't want to spend the money, and just kind of got hooked on it ever since.
Now, did he play hockey? Like, was he the one who wanted you to get into it, or where did that come from?
That's classic.
He played hockey growing up, but nothing really too competitive. He didn't take it as seriously as I did, and wasn't as competitive as I was about it. But he played a bit growing up, and he still loves watching it. Loves going to games. He coached my brother growing up, so he's still involved.
Unbelievable. Chucky, I mean, you've been known for being the joker and the leader on the bus kind of thing too, and on the team, and I've seen it, and you make me laugh and all that kind of stuff. You're a funny guy. So you were known as the cheater. You were known as the cheater in the back and playing cards, playing in between or whatever you guys played. Is that true?
No, that was just Ethan Delmaster losing to me past the ace. That's all that was. Deli sits in front of me on the bus, and we play past the ace. And it's a game where you pass your card around if you have the lower card or you have the ace, and you don't want to have the ace or the lower card. And Deli always thought that I would cheat and look at his card before passing in my card, and he would get all rattled even though I'd win. So I did not cheat.
Right.
Zach, you just got back on here. You can hop in if you want.
Restarted the computer. We're good. That's the key, right? Plug and unplug. We're good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Chuck,
Turn it on and off.
Chuck, one thing I wanted to talk to you about. You're a warrior, right? I'm sure when I was off air, they even mentioned this. There was one game specifically. I think you broke your hand, and you blocked that shot. You broke or fractured your hand or something like that. You could barely grip the stick, and you still wanted to play. And I think that speaks to your character so much. And even though Freights didn't want you to play, nobody wanted you to play, nobody thought you could play, you still wanted to. So talk about that fire that you play with, and you as a person with that fire.
Yeah, as for me, I hate being in a lineup. I hate watching the boys play without me. I feel like I should be there, and especially like that. I remember it was against Hamilton. I blocked a shot within the first 3 minutes of a game, something like that. Got me right in the hand. My hand was all swollen up, couldn't hold a stick. We're in Erie the next day, and I didn't travel with the team because I wasn't playing. I stayed at home, went back to my house in Toronto and watched my family, and I think we lost like 7-1. We got smoked, whatever. And I remember coming back, we were playing London, it was a bear toss game, and me and Crack were kind of talking throughout Saturday as what he thinks I could do, and I kind of told him I'll wake up in the morning Sunday and see what I can do, and I grabbed a stick in my room and gripped it. Felt that I can make like a couple 20-feet passes, not crazy, some breakout passes, whatever. And ended up playing. I thought I was going to be on the third pair, maybe like a 6-7 guy that game because I couldn't play too much. I think I ended up playing like 26 minutes. And I remember telling JR, like, he dropped face-of plays for me to shoot. I'm like, I can't shoot. And we kind of had to work from there. But I don't know. I don't like seeing the boys play without me. I don't like being up in the stands when we lose. And I love being a part of wins. And I just love being on the ice with those guys.
And Zach said it like a warrior. I think that's a good way to put it. Also, you were, of course, a very tough guy on the ice, not necessarily taking too much from other guys out there. Now, was that something like we talked about, you started playing when you were young, growing up? Were you always that way, or was that something that you kind of had to develop once you got into the OHL?
I think it's something that's kind of developed growing up. I think when hitting started, it's kind of really when that side took off because I like to be very physical. But like I said earlier about being an 8th round pick and like my size and everything, like I always hated the idea of smaller defensemen can't play and always get pushed around, and I always wanted to change that narrative, especially for myself. And I found that one way to do it is just not back down from anyone. I think my compete level took me further than I should have. Not really taking anything from any other guy on the team. I think if you saw in playoffs, I was in and the whistle. I feel like every scrum. But yeah, I don't really care if you're 6'4", 6'6", whatever you are, 6'4", 6'6", 5'8". I'm gonna play you the exact same way. I'm gonna try to run you. I'm just trying to get in your face. And if you crotch kick me after a whistle or punch me after a whistle, I'll make sure I get it back to you, no matter who you are.
It's just like I want. I'm thinking about something in my head, Chucky. Now, let's talk about the school day game in Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, that was.
So you got the
but-
2 fights. Okay, you go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so that was probably the craziest game I've ever played in or been a part of. I think there's a total of like 5 or 6 fights. And I think non-clean, I think I got 17 penalty minutes that game. And then I think I drew non-clean 10 misconducts, 30 minutes in penalties that game.
Yeah.
And I think I still played 20 minutes that game as well.
Yeah.
And I just remember I had my first fight. It's whatever. Tensions are high. There's a big scrum earlier in the period. It's the best. Z's head gets hit into the boards or whatever. And then I start challenging Jack Guy. And I can bang my stick on the glass, put my foot inside the penalty box and kind of challenge him and whatever. I don't know how the timekeeper allowed it. Cracks always told me after, he's like, if you actually went in that box, I think benches would have cleared. So thank God I didn't. But make a hit. I think the shift after that, I get challenged from one of their guys. I fight them. I go in the box. I come out. Matty tells me to go on the ice and stay on. And then I think 10 seconds maybe into that shift, first shift after coming out of the box, I step up, make a hit. Ended up getting suspended for the hit, and then had to fight again. And in the third period, I took a run at Jack. I think I got him pretty good. Then got interference for it.
I totally remember that. Yes, you did.
Yeah, it was by far the craziest game I've been a part of. I fought twice. Yeah, I fought twice, and it wasn't even 11:30 a.m. yet.
Unbelievable! At 11:30 a.m. I mean, that was the game. Like, I mean, I'll never forget that game. I was just a fight. Charlie Callaghan. Charlie Callaghan's involved in it again. Charlie Callahan.
Yeah.
He's got kicked out. No, he's back again. I don't know. I think it was you that got kicked out, and then you didn't get kicked out.
It was game? So after the second fight. Deli has a good story about it. If you get him on, he can tell you about the story. But
okay,
it's not really my story to tell. But after my second fight, I guess 2 fights you're out. But I got instigated on both fights, so I'm fine. And the ref kicks me out. Our whole bench is yelling. And I'm yelling at the refs like I'm not kicked out. All this stuff. So I walk down the tunnel. Then Cracks comes grab me. Says come back here. I just go back in the box, and then
yeah.
Okay,
It
was a gong show of the game.
Yeah.
It was a gong show of the game.
It was a good influence for the kids.
Awesome.
Right?
Oh, the kids must have loved
awesome.
that. Yeah.
Oh, it was crazy loud. I mean, school day games, kids don't really know who they're root for. They're just kind of there to have fun and miss a day of school. So no matter what happens, they're going crazy. And yeah, it's something like I guess Mississauga games and school day games tend to have a lot of fights. That's what kind of JR told me. And we had a little league notice going into our school day game in Missy this year, but yeah.
Steelheads hosting a couple of school day games, by the way, this year. Chuck, who did you fight in that game? And what do you remember from the scraps?
I fought Lucas Moore, the defenseman, Artem Grushnikov, another defenseman. So I just remember the first one I remember hitting a guy. I shoved him with one arm and he kind of fell into the boards awkwardly. And I was getting called for boarding. And it was after like all this mayhem ensues. Benches are starting chirping each other. Everything's going back and forth. And then I get challenged. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it. So I fight. And I just remember the second fight coming back out. The puck squirts out to the top of the circle, I think it was. The guy's head's down. I'm like, I'm going to catch him. I caught him and got him pretty good. And then I remember skating out of the zone. And Grushnikov starts skating towards me. I'm like, don't. I just got out of the box. I want to play hockey now. I'm still back from the fight. And then he drops his gloves. I'm like, you're kidding me. And then I drop mine. And I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, what's going on? And then I ended up the next day I got called in the chair's office and I was like, you got a 5-game suspension. I was like, what? Like, it was just a crazy, just like 24 hours
Right.
from when
Wow.
the start of the game to when I got suspended. Yeah.
Was that not the game Casper got suspended too? Like you guys had multiple
Right.
suspensions.
Yeah. So Casper got a second fight suspension. He fought, I forget who he fought, but he did very well in this fight. And,
Oh, yes, he did.
He got a suspension. He was dressing for the game, and I think 20 minutes before the game started, the team got league notice that Casper wasn't allowed to play, even though they didn't hear anything before. So then Casper had to get undressed 20 minutes before the game. We threw Z back on D, so we had 4D and then Zabeski as a fifth. And I think we played North Bay, and I think we did pretty well. I think it was a close game overall, but it was just, it was a gong show for a little bit.
Yeah, that game you guys against North Bay when Zabeski was back there in defense, you guys actually dominated the North Bay battalion, as I remember.
Yeah, we did well that
and
game,
it was
I think.
and it was the Dom DiVincentis show. As I remember, he was diving here, diving over there,
Right,
looking
right.
like super, whatever. But you guys outplayed him, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So we're talking about the battle with Hamilton. You guys had a lot of good battles with them. Was there one team that you just really hated playing, and it was just like a battle every time you went out there?
Hamilton.
Hamilton for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, North Bay by game 6. North Bay by game 6 was a lot. Sudbury, we always had good rivalry with. There's always scrums, benches with both chirp back and forth. And there's teams, I think those teams in the East that you play consistently on a night-to-night basis.
Like, what about Peterborough? It always seemed like there's something going on against Peterborough, too.
Peterborough is pretty good. My new teammate, Sean Spear, now, he was always a starter, and we always talked about how he wouldn't shut up on the ice. And so he's a big factor in the whole Peterborough rivalry with us. And, I mean, the COVID year when we only play the teams in the East and you're playing each team like 8 to 10 times a year. That's when like a lot of stuff would get going. Like I remember playing all the weather, a lot of scrums going on. Like especially me being very physical, I always got chirped and whatnot for it, and kind of told her I mean, ran at whatever. But it was awesome. Like I love those rivalries. It's I love the intensity of the game, and that kind of brings it out of me.
You know what's funny? I remember Chuck against you talk about the North Bay series. Of course, you were an absolute warrior, and we say it again. You were blocking shots in every scrum, whatnot, getting chirped from the fans, which I can hear, which is hilarious. You know, hey, Callaghan, hey, you suck, all that kind of stuff, whatever, right? But that stuff, it just seems like like it gets you going, eh? Like I remember we were going outside too, and hey, Callaghan, you suck. It just didn't stop.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievable.
I loved
because
it.
You were so good. You were so good in that series, in that game. And you were just like blocking everything, getting in the way. You didn't care. That's the type of player you are. And that's the type of player you're going to be at St. Francis. What are you going to bring to St. Francis? Tell everybody.
I think I'm going to bring the same style of game I play in Missy. I mean, I'm not going to change the way I play. I'm still going to be that, like defenseman that can rush the puck and move the puck up ice quick and make plays, whatever. And I'm also going to be that guy that loves to give it to the other team, loves to run around a bit, play physical, get in guys' faces, take away time and space pretty quick. I don't think my game is going to change overall, but I'm going to bring exactly what I brought when playing in Mississauga and bring it here.
You played in this league for a long time against some of the top forwards on other teams. What about Ryan Del Monte? We haven't talked much about him. Mississauga acquired him in the offseason. Going head-to-head against a guy like that, I know he's had the injuries, but what do you remember about him? And give Steelhead fans a little bit of a scouting report about their new overage player.
Yeah, I remember watching him in Meyer hockey. He'd play before us sometimes because the 03s would play before the 02s growing up. And even when he was in Barrie in London, he's a really fast, skilled winger who can make plays. And he really fits the style of play that JR likes, which is that fast speed game that, straight line down the ice, make plays, drive the net, go low the high with the puck. And I think he can bring that to the team. He's a really quick, smart, fast player, and I think he'll really help solidify that middle six.
And of course, you're going to St. FX. You talked about what you're going to bring to the team. Why did you choose them? Like, I mean, you probably had a couple opportunities to play for a few different schools, but what about St. FX made you want to go there?
Yeah. So Ryan Struther's brother plays here, who I was pretty close with in Missy, and So I was kind of talking to him the whole year, and I was talking to their coach, and just from the very first chat I had with them, it was everything I really wanted in a school. It's a good academically, it's very good, and hockey, it's very competitive out here out east, and Sandfax is one of the top teams, and they're always pushing for AUS championship and a national championship and so on. And they got the 2-time back-to-back MVP and Liam Howell. They got it all right now. So I think felt like right now it's a great time to come here. Team's gonna be good. There'll be a lot of success, and it's really everything I wanted in the school. It was at Sandfax, and at the end of the day, I kept pushing it off, and at the end of the day, I just kind of said, like, this is where I want to be. Like, they have all the qualities that I want in the school to play hockey and do well off the ice. So this side here.
Yeah, I asked you that. My sister went to Acadia, so I've been down east and down there a lot. So that'll be a good rivalry.
I could see
there's
that.
always great hockey down there. Yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah.
You got that Easter thing in you, Brendan. You got that. Don't worry, boys. That's the way.
Kind of like a trailer park boy. Eh? We've been saying that. He's like a fourth trailer park boy.
He should be in there.
Yeah.
Ray, I could see him driving around, waving at everybody.
Oh yeah.
With the car. And, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else,
awesome.
Mikey, Zach?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Like, Chuck. What a distinguished career. We just keep talking about that. But how much, like, always meeting your parents and stuff, how much of an influence have your family has been on you in your hockey career? Your mom and dad probably one of the best. All the parents are great, but your parents are really, really great. So, talk to me about that.
They've been everything for me. Growing up, just driving me around, practice, games, getting back from work, right to practice, right to games, all this stuff. And they really couldn't have done anything more than what they've done for me. They travel everywhere for my games. They drive to North Bay for a night to come watch me play. They drive anywhere to watch me play in the O. And they've always stuck by me. And when I've been told I'm too small or not good enough, they're always ensuring me just you keep going. If you keep working, you're going to get there. It's going to work out. And without them, I don't think I would be where I am today as a player and as a person. But they have done everything for me, and I can't thank them enough for everything they've done. It's truly incredible.
Chuck, are you hiding in the background or something? It looks like you're in the bathroom. Or no?
No, I'm just in my room. It's it's not all polished up yet. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with the walls. It's pretty empty in here.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So talking about your parents, how did it feel that game that you were honored when the OAs were being honored, and your parents are holding the flowers and all that stuff? Talk to me about that moment, because that seemed emotional for all three of you guys.
Yeah, when that game was, first off, that ceremony was unbelievable, and it was so cool, like, seeing all the coaches and all the boys up there, especially like the old boys and Stubbsy and Joe and Porto and Deli, Del Bell, just all be up there on that jumbotron watching it. But I remember looking at my mom when I brought her the flowers. I'm like, you cannot cry because I'm gonna start crying if you do. And I remember looking over and she had like a tear going on her face. I'm like, I can't cry. I'm about to play a game. Like, I'm about to start in 5 minutes. Like, I can't start crying right now. And it was just that game was it was a lot of emotion, and it was a really cool moment and a really cool game that I'll never forget. I have that video tribute saved on my phone, and I'll never let go of it. Like, I still have the videos from the solo lap we did go on the ice, just 3 OAs hopping on the ice by themselves, and I'll never lose those videos or those pictures.
Chuck, what's one thing you're gonna?
Go ahead, Mikey. Go ahead.
Sorry about that.
No, you got it.
Because my mind sometimes, buddy, that's the way she goes. Anyway, so tell me about the fans in Mississauga. Charlie, talk about that.
They're very passionate. They at the end of the year especially, it was pretty cool. Like, all the messages they sent me saying thank you for everything, and just through little interactions, and there's even the traveling fans. Like, I remember there's this little girl in Ottawa that has signed for me. I remember I gave her a stick after a game, and she was going crazy. She was screaming, like, crying pretty much. And it was really cool. It's like stuff like that. And I remember this a little girl from the Steelheads mini camp from last summer who I helped her with her skating. She gave me like a note and a hockey card, which I still have in my car. I still have it in my glove compartment in my car just to keep with me. And just her thanking me for, being a role model to her and stuff like that. And it's like little things like that that just like put everything to perspective and makes it so cool to play Mississauga.
And we're talking a lot, of course, about accolades that you had, talking about that, the interactions with the fans and the ceremony there. Something also that was really cool last year is you get to become co-captains with James Hardy.
Yeah.
You've always been a leader, of course, on the team, but just being able to wear
Mhm.
that C, what was that opportunity like?
It was pretty cool, especially to wear with James, like one of my best friends. It's, we came in together at the exact same time. We were drafted the same day. First training camp, first rookie camp, first game, last game, everything. And just to kind of share it with him. And it was really tough to see Deli go. I love Deli. And he's like one of my best friends. And I'm talking to him pretty recently. And it was weird not seeing him with the C, but to see it on my jersey the first time that we were in Erie when I wore it, it was pretty cool. It was pretty surreal coming in here as an 8th round pick and kind of leaving as a captain, I think.
Right.
It was pretty cool for my family and I just kind of see how far I came.
And you guys are going to be, in the Paramount Fine Food Center forever with that wall of captains. So you and James
right.
Was that the expectation, Chuck, that you and James were going to be captains? Like, what were the conversations like after Deli was traded?
I think leading up to it, we kind of had an idea that Deli was going to get traded. We didn't know where, but we kind of had an idea of what was going on, and we kind of both looked at each other, kind of knowing like, okay, it's going to be one of us. Like, who's it going to be? And then that idea always circulated. And I remember, I think it was a Sunday before. The Sunday before it was announced, like 5 days before it was announced, James called me and he was telling me like how he's not getting traded. We're both staying here, and he's like, I think we're sharing the captaincy, and had a talk with JR, and JR kind of told him, and then kind of brought us in the next day and kind of confirmed it. And we had an idea. We knew it was going to be one of us. We just didn't know which one or how it was going to work. And I don't think they could have done any better. I think it's pretty cool that me and him are up there on that wall hugging each other for the rest of the time, pretty much.
Well, I know one thing. I know we're going to be watching your progress in St. Francis and all that kind of stuff. Chuck, have you ever thought about what you're going to do after hockey? I'll tell you one thing. I think you have maybe a career in coaching or broadcasting, because I remember time, if you remember when you were my guest in Niagara. Oh my goodness, we could have kept going the whole intermission.
We killed it.
I'm just saying it a good way. But have you ever thought about that? Has that ever come to your mind or no?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about. I want to stay in hockey in some sorts. I mean, it's what I love to do, and whether that's in the media aspect of it or in even coaching or the business side of it. I know I've talked to cracks about and then the season. I'm like, hey, if you need a guy, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'll let you know, and I'll come be your D coach or whatever you want me to be. But so I've kind of thought about that kind of side of it, being in like the coaching aspect of it or business side of it, but I want to stay in the hockey world in some sorts.
Yeah, you can definitely see that. I think that's a good way to end it off. Chucky, thank you so much for coming on here today. We really
thank you for having me. This is awesome.
All right. Have a good one. Have a good off season. Good luck at
St.
FX this year. Yeah.
We'll have you back on again.
Perfect.
Right.
Sounds good.
Right. Have a good one.
Man. Have a good one. Yeah.
All right. That was Charlie Callaghan here, the former co-captain of the Mississauga Steelheads, of course, now moving on to play at St. FX. That's a great opportunity to be able to talk to him, kind of have back-to-back, have James Hardy one week, have Charlie Callaghan the next week. And
fitting.
Very fitting. I think that's the best way to say it. And you just heard the passion in his voice and really about the way that he plays the game. Zach, you said the word warrior. Mikey said it. I said it. Everybody says that when you talk about Charlie Callaghan. He really was the heartbeat of the team in so many ways. So it's going to be an extremely difficult task to replace somebody like him.
I love it when we go into the coach's room and have our meeting, and the first thing that come out of JR's mouth was heart and soul. So you say Charlie Callaghan, heart and soul, heart and soul. That's the first 2 words, or 3 words, heart and soul. Yeah, 3 words that have come out of his mouth, right? So,
and
What guy?
Mikey,
Sorry,
it's one thing for us to say it, but for the coach to say it, the coach and the GM to say it is a whole different story.
And not just the coach and the GM, but the other teammates as well. Everybody on the team said it. I mean, we watch the games up top. We see all that. Yeah, broadcasters, we use some words sometimes, whatever, explaining people. But when the coaching staff and the players are saying it as well, that's how you know it's really true. And when you hear what he's talking about, I thought really the coolest part of that was talking about the ceremony that he had with his parents and also talking about the interaction that he had with the fans, just showing how much he really does care about everything that goes into it, not just the hockey aspect of it.
I like the fact that he was an 8th round pick, boys.
Oh,
8th round pick. And, and I like what he said about, my parents were always telling me when he said, you know what, keep working. It's going to happen. Keep working. And you know what? He did. He kept working, and look at him. Look what he's going to bring to St. FX. Like, he wants to keep a career in hockey and all that kind of stuff, as he said. I think he has a career as a broadcaster as well, in my opinion. He's very intelligent, young man. It's going to be tough to replace him, in my opinion, his leadership abilities. But again, it's going to be, we mention it pretty much every podcast. It's going to have to be by committee.
Yeah, Fibiger is going to be one of those guys. Jakob Fibiger, we were, touching on him a little bit. I know we were going to talk about him a little bit more, but committing to the Steelheads, that's a good sign. Is Galvis next? And then they could have a couple left-handed D in the mix, additional left-handed D, I should say. That's remains to be seen, but I think they're in pretty decent position because I think I've said this every single episode. Every team loses OAs. It's not just the Steelheads losing key players, but I think the Steelheads have built the foundation to replace them or at least fill it by committee, Brendan. So, again, I look at this back end, and yes, it's not what it was last year without Chucky and Casper Larson, but I do really like what they have behind those guys. We talk about PVR and Finn Harding all the time, a year older. Finn Harding now going to Detroit Red Wing rookie camp. More experience for him around some of the bigger NHL prospects and some big NHL personnel. So I'm feeling good about the back end, boys. I realize it's very tough. It's almost impossible to replace a guy like that, but I'm feeling good.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And a name that wasn't even mentioned there is Chaz Sharp. He's going to be a huge part of it as well, of course, as an OA. And maybe the captain this year. We'll see how it goes, but it might be kind of pointing towards that. Zach, you kind of stole my transition there, but Jakob Fibiger, of course, we do want to talk about him, and I like that you brought him up there because he is going to be a piece that needs to fill in on this back end. They're losing Larson and Callaghan, two huge guys that were big for them last year. So I know we don't know a ton about Fibiger because we weren't watching too much Czech hockey last year. I'll admit that. But we did see him at the Lincoln Gretzky Cup. We know he can do some things in the offensive side. So I'm just kind of excited to see how he sort of fits into this defensive core.
I like him. I remember watching him in the Holinka, and I was, keeping a close eye on him, of course, when the Czechs were playing because he is a Steelheads prospect. And he looked good out there. He was very smooth. It looked like he was very smooth out there. He was very intelligent with the puck. He knew where to go, to me. I think he's a good fit back there with the defense core. And, I think a lot of teams are gonna look at the Steelheads defense and say, you know what? We could take advantage of this. I don't think so. I do not think so one bit. And, Zach, you mentioned it. We all mentioned it, Brendan. Chad Sharp is back there. Stevie Leskovar is back there. Fibiger is going to be back there now. Finn Harding's going to be. There's your four defensemen. There's four defensemen right there. Am I missing somebody? I could keep going on and on and on, right?
Von Richter.
How can I forget PVR? Right? How can I forget PVR? So there's five defensemen right there. So Stevie Leskovar, he got a year under his belt. Pretty much a good year with the Steelheads when he was traded over. From Peterborough, because he wasn't getting that much ice time with Peterborough, and he was getting ice time with the Steelheads. And when Stevie Leskovar got out there, he played well. He played absolutely amazing. PVR, we talked about him. PVR was absolutely dynamite for a 16-year-old. Imagine how good he's going to be back there in that back end. I could go on. Finn Harding, man, we saw him at the golf tournament. Another guy just got was with the Detroit Red Wings camp. And now look at him now. He's got a big muscle on his face, right? You know what I mean? Like, he's huge. So, this defense core is going to be good. It's going to be really good. Maybe maybe I could see them getting off to a really fast start back there. We know that they could score goals, and I really think this team's going to develop into a team to look out in the playoffs, especially in that back end. That's going to help.
Fibiger should be an all situations player, right? You can play him on the PP, even though they might not need to, especially because he's 16. They might want to ease him in. They have other PP weapons on the back end, especially I know JR likes to go 4 forwards, as most teams do. But I think he's going to log some big minutes. Again, I wouldn't say it's a thinner core, but when you lose Callaghan and you lose Larson, other guys are going to have to step up. So naturally, there might be a bigger role for Fibiger right off the bat. I trust him. I really like what he does out there. You mentioned it, Mike. He's strong defensively. He's a good two-way player. He moves the puck well. He doesn't force anything. And this is something that we saw with PVR and Finn Harding. They didn't force plays. They played the right way. And as they got their feet under them, around the 30-40 game mark of their rookie seasons, they really started to take off. And you were talking about how good is PVR going to be? I mean, he was already getting draft interest at 16 years old. NHL teams were coming up to James Richmond and saying, where the hell did you find this kid? I mean,
yeah.
He came out of nowhere.
I remember that. Yeah.
He just got his braces off.
That's right.
And, I mean, it really does speak to the development, the scouting of this team. I'm feeling really good about the back end still.
Yeah, and I like that you mentioned Fibiger with the power play too, because just reading kind of what he does, that is something that is part of his game, is running that power play. So who knows? I mean, we know Callaghan played minutes on the power play last year. We know Larson played minutes on the power play last year. So there may be a spot for him. Maybe it's not the top unit. Maybe Chad Sharp kind of quarterbacks that one, and then Fibiger maybe switching through with Harding and PVR. So who knows how that'll shake out, but I do think that just brings another aspect of his game that can help him stay in the lineup and can be a big piece for Mississauga. So we've got some preseason coming up, actually starting really soon.
Yes.
We'll see him play, I guess. That's kind of the good thing about preseason, is to kind of check out all the new guys starting on, where is it? Where am I looking here? When do we start? September 1st. Yes.
Where are you? Where are you?
September 1st, right here. They're in Mississauga against Guelph. So what are you looking for in the preseason? I know we've talked about it briefly. If you really care about performance in the preseason, all that stuff, but just kind of what would you be looking for the Steelheads team?
For me, I'm looking at Jack Ivankovic. I want to see how he does against OHL talent. I'm looking at Jakob Fibiger, Kieran Wachowski, basically anybody who's new to the team. I want to see them in action. I don't think a lot of guys on Mississauga have anything to prove in the preseason. If they were there last year, we saw big second half jumps from guys like Vecchia, Nisa, Harding, and Von Richter. Mac Donnell's a stud. We know he's going to score 35 plus this year, probably for Mississauga. Martone. Can Van Volsen take that next step, at least offensively, because we know he's a defensive stud and really good on the draws. I'm sure that they're going to be able to fine-tune his game and make him a two-way. So, Mikey, for me, it's just about seeing these new guys, how they mesh not only with this team, but in the league, because this is the best major junior hockey league in North America. So I'm very excited to see how they go.
Yeah, me too. Same. I'm excited to see the meshing, as you said. I'm excited to see how the team works together. But one guy I'm really, really interested to see is William Eggleton. He was a guy last year that got into some games. He did okay. He's like transitioning, but as you said, it's the toughest league in the world to transition to, the OHL, of course. I mean, you're playing against top end talent, but here's a guy in the blue and white scrimmage game that scored a couple goals, right? So I'm interested to see how he does this year against top end teams. So. But I'm looking for him. I'm looking for the meshing. I'm looking to see the goaltending too. And I'm sure in the preseason that you're going to see Ivankovic maybe for half a game. You're going to see Leenders for half a game, in the beginning, and then you're going to see probably Leenders more near the end to get end of the preseason to get more reps to get you ready for the regular season, right? So it's going to be good. I think preseason, there's a lot to look forward to, and I think the JR and company and staff are going to be they're going to be right on it. This team's just going to be just fine. No
yeah, worries. I mean, I really agree with Zach in the sense that looking at guys who were on the team last year probably doesn't do a whole lot. There's not really guys in this team that have a ton to prove. So it really is all about just the new guys coming in and seeing what they're able to do within James Richmond's system. Again, we know that that's kind of sometimes a difficult thing to grasp. It's a little bit different than other coaches teach. So that's also something that I'd be looking forward to. And then Ivan Kovic is probably the biggest one, I would say, just to see how he makes that transition. Like you guys were saying, it's a difficult thing to do, but it's but Siri turns on my computer for some reason. But anyways, yeah, it's that would be the one that I would be looking at the most, is to see Ivan Kovic and how he transitions to the OHL.
How can we not mention, gentlemen, Leenders and Ivan Kovic played in that charity hockey game in Brampton for Team Wendell Clark and Team Wendell Clark, and who was the other coach? I'm not sure there, buddy. No, it was Team Clark, Team Gilmore. Okay. So they were the two coaches, played against NHLers. It was a big charity event in Brampton. And how about that they were the two goaltenders, one for Team Clark and one for Team Gilmore, as I said. What do you guys, I mean, that's pretty cool.
It was really cool to see Ryerson Leenders stop a shot from John Tavares.
Yeah.
Right.
He makes $11 million in the NHL, multiple-time All-Star, was a franchise icon. And 17-year-old now, I'm so used to saying 16, but I will say now 17-year-old Ryerson Leenders stopping him. And I know his dad, Gordon, big fan of our show, our broadcast and everything like that. That's such a cool moment for him and his family. And then Cole Perfetti dangling Jack Ivan Kovic on a breakaway. I played golf with Jack Ivan Kovic and his dad. That's just super cool to get on the ice, to have that experience, all for a good cause, all in front of a big crowd. And you guys might call me crazy here, but I think that goes a long way for their experience. Yes, it's just a charity game, but I do think that is valuable experience for them.
Confidence. 100% that's valuable experience. Having the people there watching, facing guys like you said, John Tavares and Perfetti, like these are guys that have really made out massive careers. Tavares, obviously, like you just mentioned, all his accolades in the NHL and also in junior hockey. Tavares was like one of the best junior hockey players that comes to my mind when I think of when I was watching as a kid. So a lot to look forward to, I think, in the preseason and kind of on the Mikey, are you okay?
I can't believe we didn't say to Chuck, you know, there's another jersey that needs to be put up to the Raptors. I forgot to say that. Sorry to change the subject here, but I just
No, you're good. Yeah, no, definitely. We will we'll throw that in there right now. Make sure that still gets out there. That's definitely something that we look forward to. Yes.
Since we're getting close to the season.
Oh boy.
For anybody that's listening, that's a Cleveland Browns hat. That's
right. That's Cleveland Browns, and that's the team that's going to win the AFC.
So basically, Mikey K is a masochist, and he loves pain because he cheers for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. Almost like Detroit. Anyways, we can get into a long football conversation, but I do want to get into something else before we get to our life tips with Mikey K. I think that should be a sponsored segment. We need to get that going. Life tips with Mikey K. I really do think that's everybody would tune into that and hear what Mikey has to say. Anyways, before we get to that though, I do want to talk about the promotional schedule because it did just come out. And I always really enjoy the promotional games that they put together. You have Pink at the Rink, Pucks and Paws, Teddy Bear Toss, of course. You got a couple school night games, family day, cultural celebration. Is there any one that stands out to you guys from last year that you really enjoyed? I know they're bringing back a few of them, a couple different ones in there. So what was one that you kind of enjoyed last year?
I love Pucks and Paws.
Oh, Jinx, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. That's a great one.
We started the show with dogs, and now we got to end the show with dogs.
Right. That's right. Pucks and Paws.
It's such a good promotion, you know. Like it's. I know that when Michael Hastings sends his promos and his media releases about Pucks and Paws, other media outlets are very interested in this. It's such a unique concept. You hear the dogs barking during the game. You see them walking around. And honestly, I think for some of us that have dogs or who have had good relationships with dogs and had long lives with them, it really is so important to not only bring them, but to just see the joy that they bring. And I know the players for sure, because the players have told me that it's just so cool. It's such a different vibe to have them in there. So I don't know. I mean, they're all very special. Pink in the Rink obviously holds a very heavy and important message. I just think, in terms of playing it light and keeping it fun and all that stuff, of course, pink in the rink is very, very important. But pucks and paws, I just think is such a good time. And it's such a fun way to bring people out and really enjoy it.
Yeah, teddy bear toss too, right?
Yeah.
Teddy bear toss, of course. That's all for a good cause for Children's Hospital, for all the kids and stuff like that too. So everyone has as you mentioned, Zach, every promotional has its own message, right? And pucks and paws is more fun. They're all fun. I mean, really, they're all fun. They're all great. I mean, I don't know how to pick from any of them, but the pucks and paws, to hear the dogs.
Yeah, I mean, they are all great, and
that's the Cleveland
even if
Browns
it's
chant.
it's not even necessarily a promotion, but I always love the Family Day game as well. That's one of my
Best.
favorites too,
Best.
where you get massive crowds there. And last year it would have been really cool if we had the Misa brothers.
Yeah.
Of course, Michael wasn't playing, but I always do love the Family Day game as well. So looking forward to those promotions this year. And something I'm looking forward to is a life tip from Mikey K. And I know because we haven't been on here for a couple weeks, he's probably got tons of stuff just pouring out of him. So Mikey, take it away.
Mikey K, and the K stands for knowledge.
That's
sponsor.
That's the way she goes. Yeah. But one thing. Okay. Here. So what is the time limit? Okay. So if a time. Okay. Yeah. Brendan's like, okay. Time limit. Now, isn't it 11 o'clock? You're supposed to stop doing what you're doing, as in building stuff in your backyard and hearing that kind of stuff.
Like, yeah, no noise after 11 is.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, yeah.
I don't mind. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not that type of guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had people over. I mean, you're sitting in your backyard after 11 o'clock, whatever. You're having a good time. But when you're hearing equipment and people are building things, and you're hearing a saw at 12 o'clock, 12:30 in the morning, on your neighbors, like, come on. He's building. I don't know what he's building back there. He's building a gazebo, right? Don't get me wrong. He's a nice guy, right? He's a nice guy and stuff. But stop building at 11:30. All of a sudden I hear, I'm like, oh my goodness, man.
I love.
So
I just love how this segment has gone from life tips to just like people who have pissed Mikey K off.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the best part. You got the dogs with the leashes. You got people not picking up after the dogs. People building stuff after 11. Man, Mikey,
just stop.
A lot of stuff going on.
So the life tip is, please, for the life of me, stop building stuff and stop using your drills after 11 o'clock, 11:30. Have your people over, have your get together on a nice summer eve, whatever it is, whatnot. I do it all the time. So just to say, right? Stop building. Wait till the next day. Life tip: stop building after 11. I don't want to hear your boom, 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 boom. I want to hear some ha 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 ha, talking and stuff, right? Just saying.
Yeah. No,
Mike.
I think
I
think it's a good point. I like to talk and I like to hang out late with people. I like to have good times, but the hammering and the drilling after 11, I don't know about that.
Okay, so on the flip side, what's the earliest that you're allowed to start mowing your lawn and doing all your stuff outside that makes?
I think like 7. I think 7 o'clock.
7? Are you no?
Yeah, I think that's a fair number.
7 o'clock. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, fine, 8 o'clock. I don't know. I think 7 or 8 is a fine number. If you're going at like 4:30, that's just But I think 7, 8. I don't think
4:30 in the morning.
Can you imagine mowing your lawn in the dark?
I've seen some people
get like a light on the front of your lawnmower, so you know where you're going.
Oh my goodness,
that's got to exist.
Yeah, no. We used to have this neighbor. They used to live near us, whatever, right? We used to go out there like 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. And he doesn't live there anymore. And used to go out there and cut his grass. What the? Also, you what? You look out the window, and then we just look at her like, what is he doing? Then, I don't know.
I'll say
he doesn't live there anymore. He moved away. But
this is probably my favorite Mikey K life tip segment, just because of the sound effects that you're giving us. It is completely making the segment. Thank you for that, Mikey. I agree with you though. I think after 11:30, I don't know. It's a little off to me. Okay, so that'll wrap it up. That'll wrap it up here, Mikey. Yeah. I like it. I like what you're saying. I like all the tips that you're giving.
Yes, sir.
That one especially good with the sound effects. Really, I really like that one. But anyways, that was Trout Talk number 9. We had Charlie Callaghan on here today. big thanks to him for coming on. Thanks to everybody for listening to the podcast. Of course, thanks to Saga 960 for hosting our podcast on their website and having us, of course, as broadcasters. And you can check us out on YouTube, Trout Talk. If you go on there, you can find our channel. We have our James Hardy interview posted. This one with Charlie Callaghan will be posted, I'm going to say Monday, Tuesday, maybe, the upcoming week. So, yeah, we'll definitely look forward to that. Zach, thank you. Mikey, thanks. And we'll keep going here. This is episode number 9 of Trout Talk. I'm Brendan Lang. Have a good one, everyone.
Sometimes they're bound for Liverpool, sometimes they're bound for Spain. Heave away, me Johnny's heave away. But now we're bound for old St. John's where all the girls